I will call on Oluwaseyi Ogunrinde, whose birthday it is today as well, and he will be pitching shortly at the pitch stage. She is a narrative designer, and she's taking part in the She Got Game program this year with a mobile game in development called Circuit Chakula. It's the same game she will be pitching today. A round of applause for Shay, please. And next is Grace James, who's a game producer and an award-winning climate tech innovator. She's the founder of Green Quest Innovations, and she's participating in She Got Game with the game not Green Quest. The name just ran out of my head. Yes, Monsters and Threats, but something precedes it. Okay, so my memory is not as bad as I thought it was. A round of applause for Grace, please. Yes, thank you. Okay, now I can sit, I think. All right. I think I'll start with City. It's been 4 years. What's been a highlight of being a mentor of She Got Game for you?
I think the highlight was when I met them in person. When I met some of the mentees in person, not just my mentee Doshima, who was from the first year, but the other mentees from Switzerland and was that another country? I forget, but they came over for Africa Games Week, and meeting them in person and getting to know like how they felt about the program, and then like I don't know, it kind of clicked a bit more that it wasn't how international it was, but it was just 1 year afterwards. So that was a highlight. But every year when I meet new people, new mentees, like it's a big highlight when I'm learning. I'll take those moments.
So to add to what Site just said, so the offices that participate, we don't just have participants from Sub-Saharan Africa taking part in She Got Game. It's all of our liaison offices for Pro Helvetia are represented. So we have participants from countries covered by our office in New Delhi, by our office in Shanghai, by our office in Cairo as well, and in South America. So it's a really international group. But sadly, they don't get to meet in person so often. They meet mostly on Discord and on Teams. Grace, you first. How did you hear about She Got Game?
Hi everyone. So basically, how I got to learn about She Got Game is social media. Basically, I was searching for an opportunity to basically improve myself because I've been a developer, like really without any structure. So I was actually looking for entirely. So I wanted the opportunity to learn more about structuring my game studio as an indie game developer, and also an opportunity to learn from the best because we have so many amazing mentors with over, like my mentor, Ponima, she's from India. She has like over 10 years experience and she's so humble and she's achieved so much. So getting to learn from them and also becoming a better game producer myself was what attracted me to She Got Game.
Not only is it sponsoring people in game with mentorship, but it's actually specifically for women, such that you're meeting other women in the game development space, so that, oh, you're not alone. You're not just one or two women that are actually doing this. You get to meet a lot of other women that are building games. And not only that, but then you get to meet women that are experienced. You get to meet women with 10 years, 15 years of experience in building games and working in the games industry. And you're like, wow, I never knew. So like, it's really a very big one for me. I was very happy to see that, oh, there are other people like, I mean, I knew just Doshima already, I knew Grace already, but like meeting many other people was like, it was really big for me.
Similar constraints, sometimes financial constraints, electricity, things that people deal with.
She had some experience and she was able to tell me how she navigated it. So learning from her directly was great. And aside that, also the fact that we got stipends, which is awesome. So we got money to do what we love. So definitely was an overall great experience.
So they get a 3,000 francs grant to support there. I'll go to Site now. I mean, they've talked about their own experience as mentees. For you as a mentor, you've also had mentees from more or less everywhere within the She Got Game program. What for you do you find as unique in terms of these encounters? And then what have you also found to like be completely different from what you have been familiar with so far?
Sorry, so what do I find unique and what is completely different?
Yes.
Within the mentorship?
What do you find shared, that's what's shared between you, yes, and then what's different? Yes.
Okay, so, yeah. So I've pretty much mentored people, like you said, from everywhere. Like She Got Game is located, like so 6 countries at the moment right now, 4 different continents, lots of people. And just to give you a bit of perspective, I'm going to talk a bit about my background before I was mentoring. So I've been interested in supporting women in games for a very long time, since like 2013. It even started in Zambia, because when I tried to start a community, a game development community in Zambia, I noticed that a lot of women weren't participating, and my introduction to the tech space was through women in Zambia. And when I got into that space, I kept trying to see like how to keep it going locally. But once I moved to South Africa, I'm still in before She Got Game, but once I moved to South Africa, like I was seeing like kind of the same problems with women in game development communities, or just like with how hard, or with why us not having women participating in the spaces for game development. So through She Got Game, when I was mentoring and connecting with people, with my mentees in these one-on-one sessions, which I think is very important, because a lot of times when we do support women in tech and games, it's a lot of times it's in big public spaces, and you don't get those small intimate moments where you can actually really, really learn from people. And I remember when I used to hold my workshops, and I would learn so much from small interactions. So now I'm learning from people who are far, far away, and even different generation from me, but they had the same issues like I'm still seeing the same problems that I've been seeing for years, that are preventing women from taking part in the games industry, or taking part in communities, and talking about them and like sharing like what worked for me and what is working for them is something that I think is first you asked what's unique, but this is what's shared. Like, you can always, I think the things you can learn from someone in India, from Brazil, you can kind of learn things that will help your own community grow. And what's unique, it's interesting. I don't think there's anything that's that unique, to be honest. Like, but yeah, I don't think there's anything that unique. Interestingly enough, like once you like really dig into them, once I really get to know people, like a lot of times I do find a common thread. But I would say maybe an interesting perspective I found was sometimes people, a lot of times we have the problem of we don't know enough of the games industry for us to get into it, or we don't have enough experience, or we're not, like, it's usually that. But I found cases where there's someone who worked in a AAA studio, and they have a lot of experience in a AAA studio, but they want to go indie, and it's so interesting seeing the other side. Yeah, that's the only very unique thing, is that there are actually places where it's like you can be in the industry and you need to come back to small communities, and even then you still need that mentorship to come into that small community, because you wouldn't expect to need that kind of mentorship. Like if someone said, hey, I worked at, I don't know, some big company, what the big ones we're talking about, Rockstar, I don't know, EA, you might think, oh, they don't need mentorship, but moving between spaces within the industry, you do also need mentorship for that, and it's still valuable. I think you can have mentorship at any stage in your life, and it can be valuable for very specific reasons. It's not always new entry-level person. Sometimes it's, I've been around and I want to pivot, and you will still need mentorship, and it's pretty good to have that.
Yeah, and I find that interesting that someone who wants to leave like the more commercial space to come to the more artistic space, then they find there's a culture shock at some point. Yeah, that's interesting. So for She Got Game, I think I mentioned this earlier. We pretty much encourage people at the start of like their careers to apply, or people who I think would fit very well in that context, who are maybe starting their own studio and need mentorship, need guidance. So in addition to the one-on-one sessions, there are also lectures happening each month on different topics that are separate from, or not always separate, but related to some of what you could have in the one-on-one. Okay, that I find interesting is that there's also, apart from the mentors and then the guest speakers, there's also a trust person within the community. So earlier today, like the panel before us, someone talked about exploitation. And I think the trust person exists in the She Got Game community to be able to address any and every issues that might arise. And of course, she's also a woman with experience in the game design industry. She's an academic as well. But just to ask all of you, what has, knowing that there's that person in the group to support you away from like typical technical issues, what does the role of that person mean to you, and how important is it for you to know that there's someone like that as part of the mentorship?
Okay, so I feel that it's actually quite important because I try to, more or less avoid issues, and I try to avoid issues, but if the issues are coming, it's like I would not bend over backwards, and I would rather be non-confrontational, but if the problem is coming from, we're going to deal with it. So I like the fact that there is actually already someone there that more or less, if you already know that if there is any issue at all, you're not first of all thinking, how do I handle it? You don't have to run helter-skelter thinking, oh, what do you think I should do? You already have someone straight up that you can go and meet and tell, oh, this is happening. This I do not like. So like it's very important, and it's something that's, I would say it's something that I am happy that is actually there, because more or less it relieves you from double thinking of how do I relate with this person, especially seeing as we are not all from the same culture. Now, more or less it's someone that you can know that you can talk to if this is something wrong or this is just like cultural differences. So I'm glad that we actually have that role, and it's actually quite important. Okay, for me, right, before She Got Game, when I used to have experiences like maybe issues within my studio, I used to really lock up, because the gaming industry in Nigeria is a bit intimidating because it's very male dominated. So sometimes you don't necessarily feel like maybe they can relate. Sometimes you wonder if it's like a female thing, or if it's like if it's an experienced thing, or if you're supposed to know these things because you're a game producer. But after or during my program in She Got Game, knowing that there are people that can relate, and understanding that it's not just a Nigerian problem, but there's somebody out there in Germany or India or whatever part of the world that is facing something similar, there's this, will I say, closure, there's this kind of like feeling that makes you, okay, you know what, it's not just me, and that's fine. It means that there is hope. And also recently, very recently, I had issues within my studio, and most times, like I said, I lock up. Sometimes I just like experience burnout, and I just kind of like go to like my little hiding corner. But luckily for me, there was a lecture happening that week. So during the lecture, I spoke about it, and I got the attention that I needed. I had a one-on-one session with someone who wasn't even my mentor, but like she volunteered, and then we had a conversation, and then I saw myself coming out of my shell, and I was able to actually fix the problem. I realized that, you know what, sometimes you can just be in your head, but if you speak out, there are solutions out there. So I feel like She Got Game gives that platform and helps you feel safe, feel heard, and there are people like professionals that are there to actually cater to your needs, which is amazing. I can only imagine, like, if I was to actually get a consultant on LinkedIn, I can imagine how much I'll be paying, but you have these people at your disposal, almost 247 actually. You can actually message them on Discord and they are literally in your corner. So that's my experience.
Thank you. So, Sithé, would you want to add anything?
Yeah, I do. Because, I was actually going to answer, I was like, oh, Natasha's great. But then I was like, oh, wait, she's not there for me exactly. But she kind of, she's great for the mentee. So Natasha's our trust person for She Got Game. And I can see, like, she's very experienced. She's an academic. She's a student. She's very online as well. And she's very aware of the space and the state of the industry and what it's like, the things which you might encounter. But at the same time, so first of all, it's great. Just the fact that there is a trust person appointed and visible and accessible to everyone is a great show of a commitment to making the space more welcoming and more safe for women participating. But beyond that, I generally find like the people at Pro Helvetia are very easy to talk to, and like I feel you're my trust person as well, Derin. You're also my trust person. You, Tiffany. Like I really love talking to you guys. When it's that time again, I'm like, oh yeah, back to talking to these guys again. So I think they've made a deliberate effort to have Natasha as the trust person, and she's great and like is a very central person that anyone can access to. But I think beyond that, like having the culture within the company as well, and like and I think it's very important for women making the space in the games industry, because that'll translate even to how we treat each other as participants and mentors and mentees. We can hold ourselves accountable, and we can like make sure it's not just we do our thing for 6 months and bye. Like we respect each other. We respect the mentees respect the mentors. So I think that's a great thing beyond having just a trust person.
Yes. And I think her personality is great as well, Natasha. She's not reserved like most of us. She's like really boisterous and active. Yeah, but away from like that side of the community side of She Got Game, of course, one word that comes up quite often when also talking about it is the business of games. Support for starting your studio, financial support to develop your prototype. For you, what do you see? How have you seen the support provided? How have you seen it transform the business part of your work as a game designer, developer, and studio owner?
Okay, that's a very interesting question because I love the question. So basically, right, when I came into the industry, I came in from like the social impact angle, because my games are about climate change and the environment. I wasn't necessarily thinking about like monetization, because all I thought about was I want to make a difference in the world. Like I want to educate people in a very interactive way. But during my sessions with my mentor and also like the lectures that we had, I started understanding data a lot more. I started understanding how to basically like monetize, and to make a scalable impact, even like in the social impact space, you need to be sustainable yourself. So I learned more about business models. I learned more about leveraging. I learned a lot about co-creation, because sometimes you might not have, like someone asked earlier, the capital to actually build a game or like own a game studio is very intensive. You may not have all that, but co-creation and collaboration actually helps you achieve it way faster. So I got to learn a lot about that and actually build a better structure. Also think about, before you build your next game, what genre are you building in? And have you looked at the statistics? Have you looked at the data? Have you done your market analysis? Because all these things are very important as a game studio. You don't just wake up and just, and just build, because it's a lot of commitment. And a lot of games, depending on your genre, basically it takes time. So you have to make sure that it's worthwhile. And you have to make sure that at the end of the day, it's also a representation of what you want to put out there. So I learned a huge part of that from the mentorship programs and the lectures. And so far, I think it has been putting me in the right path, because now I'm also like thinking about exploring like the horror genre, thinking about like hybrid casual games and building things that would help me like really put it out there fast. So it's been awesome.
While entering into She Got Game, all my mind was simply, oh, thank goodness you're giving us some money. I would put this money into my game. And, oh, they're going to teach us how to pitch. They're going to help us with pitching. So, oh, I could get an investor, get money, put it into my game. That was all that was in my head. But thanks to the support I've gotten from my mentor, Violetta, and even she introduced me to someone else, Gianluca, who also has been in the gaming industry and has actually worked with a lot of investors. So from discussing with them, I more or less would say the way I think now is no longer the way I thought when I was entering into the She Got Game program. Now, from the mentorship, I've been able to learn that it's not all about, oh, let them just come and bring money, let me put it into my game. I've learned that there are contracts, there is leverage you can have when you already have your game at least developed to a sensible extent. More or less, I learned that nobody's going to just come and give you some money to, oh, okay, build it, finish, and I'll take a part, you take a part. More or less, I was learning that if you're not having something solid yet, you're not having a stand to more or less make proper negotiations. I also learned how to pitch better. My pitch changed completely. Definitely, my pitch changed completely, and then I also learned about more or less putting my game out there more, trying to more or less build a community. So I learned more about building the communities for my game. Even ideas I'd not even really been thinking much of, such as currently now I'm looking to start an animation series based on the characters of my game. So at least that would bring in more viewership, get more people to like the game. And so that's basically has been what I've gained from the support. And honestly, it's been great, because I've been having like meetings almost every other Saturday, and it's also interesting because this meetings is not just about talking about your game. We actually talk about your personal life, and actually seeing like how do I put it? People living regular life, having regular issues, talking about this with my daughter, or this with my house, and more or less you can just relate, more or less someone you can talk to. There is an issue, you can send a message. By the time it was seeming like social media posting was after my life, I went to complain, and they're like, oh, you are not the only one. And also giving advice on how I can stay consistent, and at the same time it would not be so much pressure on me. So like the support really has gone a long way. I'm honestly no longer the same lady that entered the She Got Game program.
That's for the support. So I would say, because even I guess like I'm a mentor, and of course I get paid for my time as a mentor. And for me personally, it's allowed me to see value in what I do, and I think I'm sure that translates to everyone else who's participating as well. Maybe if they didn't already think of that, yeah. Because I mean, basically, like, you don't have to worry so much about it, because I want to help people. I really want to help people, and like you can't pour from an empty cup, basically. And like, I know that a lot we mean that spiritually, emotionally, but even financially. Like if I can't do anything, yeah, the support has helped me see how valuable it is, and even in that, it's made me take it even more seriously, being a mentor. So that's what I would say the support has done the most for me. And and just generally, there are a lot of programs where we're supporting people making games, but I think because we still see games, okay, not right now, but for a long time we've seen games as something very casual, very hobbyist, and but we still say we want more women in games. And I'm like, okay, but what if people have more important things to do? Like, what if people, what if they really want to? People aren't just gonna, even if people want to make games, sometimes they can't take time from work or whatever, but if they know, if there's something that can help, that they see value in, like whether it's their time, whether it's their game being a product, if you can help them see value and in what they're doing, they can take it more seriously, and we can push people further with that. So I think the deliberate support that is provided helps not just this program, but just overall allowing people to see when we support women, we can take them places. So
yes. I was thinking of that also when you asked the question earlier to the panel, the guys that had the pitch last year and then came to present, when you asked them about being solo developers or working as part of a team. Because I remember there had been one instance where one of the people whom we had supported was, of course, working with the team to develop her game. And it was dependent on them getting paid, was dependent on the prototype grant being paid on time. So I was thinking of that when you asked that question, that how do people manage when they do not have funding to actually work with more people outside of themselves when they need skills that they do not have. So yeah, I think that for me has been one key relevance of knowing that the prototype grant is available for you to work with people who may or may not be after your life in the process of developing your games. Are there any questions? Would you want to add anything else before you leave? Maybe some tips on what people should do when they want to apply?
Okay, so when you want to apply, please put all your heart into it. You might feel like you want to just write something that looks good at the end, but that part of you that actually cares is important. Put it into your application process, put it into your description of your game, put it into your writing, and then there is nothing that is too, no, it's not good enough, it's too insignificant, it's too, what are they calling it? Everything that you have in your mind, everything that you think about your game, the place your art, the challenges you're having, put everything there.
I like it.
Then something else is please make as much use of the resources available to you. There are coffee sessions every Friday. There is your mentor, there are other mentors, there are your fellow colleagues that are building their own games. Talk with everybody. Put all of this into good use. It will help you go far farther than you'd even think about while entering the program. So thank you very much.
Please, before you leave, can you stand for your panel session picture? Please, Madam Bukola, you are there, so you have to take it. Traditional sports industry space. Good luck, girl. All right. So, as a female in the sports industry space, do I need to have gaming chops? Do I need to know how to build game before I apply? Because I'm not in the science. I'm just in the arts and the entertainment and the art of it all. So, if you don't have a background in engineering and whatnot, how do you get into creating your own game?
So maybe I'll let the expert add to what I want to say, but yes.
Speak to me.
I understand not everyone in game development codes.
Yes.
So some people write the narrative.
Yes.
Some people do the song. Some people do the art.
Yes.
So all of these people are eligible to apply for She Got Game.
So even if you only have, let's say, the shoutcasting part of it, or
shoutcasting,
because that's basically what I do generally.
You have to be involved in the making of the game in some way. Yes, so if it's not like writing the code that's essential, you could be drawing the scenario, you could but yeah.
Part of the application is that you have to show a project that you're currently working on, and that's going to be part of your thing. So, for example, I think Oluwaseyi, she's narrative. She does a lot of narrative, even though she is the main creator in the game. But you know, if you have a background in something else, if you're working on a game, then you can still apply. Like, you can still apply.
I love that.
You have to be involved in creating a game.
Yeah, you have to be involved in the creation of the game.
So even storytelling is part of you being involved.
Yes, narrative here, and it's actually a pretty big part of it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Love it. I don't like horror, but I love it.
So the beauty of She Got Game is all kinds of, like, all genres are eligible, except, of course, what is not legal. As long as it's legal, it's, yeah. So we've had different kinds of stories. We've had a horror game. Cassie's game was, I think, horror inspired. It was called The Sheet Ghost, or was it The Ghost Sheet? About the day in the life of a ghost leading up to Halloween. Aluta's game,
Bill of Rights, yes, and it was early prototype, and she mostly does XR games like augmented reality. She does a lot of that stuff, and I think that was one of the projects where she was like, I want to get into making games, and I want to get into the business of it. So it was kind of like the first time she was looking at a game from the commercial side of it. So yeah, she submitted a project, and the year before, we had someone from Egypt, and she was working on a very culturally focused game, and it was like she was collaborating with a museum for the game. But it was her game, but she wanted to like partner with a museum for it. So it's like there are different ways you can get into it, and that's another thing I like about the support from Pro Helvetia, because it's the goal is to support. Well, let me just say the background is Swiss Arts Council, so it's like supporting the arts and the creation of it. So it's not always about we want this game to be like $1 million success on Steam with 1 million downloads. Sometimes people have games that have other purposes, other meanings, and other markets, if you will, even though it's not people actually paying for the game, but they're still in some ecosystem that exists in some institution that can actually benefit from the game.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
I had a question that I forgot now.
Is there an age limit, or when can, like, age?
No age limits. No.
Is there no age grade?
No,
so
age
a kid
grade.
at
It just has to be above 18.
And that's what I want to know, because I've got children, and those children are always creating things. Let me know where to start from.
Yes.
Okay.
You can apply for them, and
For real?
the other one.
Don't joke. Oh, my goddaughters, they are crazy when it comes to stories. Oh. They write it, they stone it, and they start making us play it, even if it's analog. But I just would like to know. Thank you.
You have to be above 18.
Above 18, yes. But I can apply on your behalf.
Above 18, not have had a studio for more than 7 years, or not have had any experience for more than 7 years. So it's really looking at emerging game designers, game developers, studio owners. Yes. So if you have more than 7 years experience, then you are overqualified.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Can I also ask one last question from my end? When it comes to studio, I hear people say studio a lot. I've seen different variety of studio, but I mean, Grace, what's the starter pack for a studio? Yeah, 101.
Okay, so game studio is just like saying a game company, basically. Just the same way you don't need to have like a physical address. You guys can like converge. It could be from your home, because most times I work from home. Sometimes I meet them in a workspace. It depends. It can literally be you and one other person, like a startup, you and your co-producer, co-founder. So it can be small. You can start from wherever you are, basically. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you very much. Very helpful.
Any questions?
Do I have any questions for Grace?
Not your mentee, but maybe you have a question. And Grace, maybe you have a question for us.
Yeah, let's do that. So a question I would ask Grace. How has your perspective changed about the industry in general through the program, if it has?
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, the gaming industry generally looks like is a very male-dominated field. So of course, having a community of other women that are building games in their own respective country kind of like helps you to know that you're not alone, and also to basically see the opportunities that are out there for women. Because before She Got Game, I don't think, I'm not aware of any other program that is designed for women in the game space. And it just basically gives you that opportunity to start from wherever you are. Because I know when I came into She Got Games, I had just one game, which is Green Quest Monsters and Threats, and it was still in prototype phase. So I basically just sent in my concept art, like a couple of videos, and it was like really small. But like during the program, I've been able to launch one game already, and I've learned a lot from like my mentor. So it kind of like gives me the perspective that like the space is also designed for women, not just, and anybody can thrive, basically. Yeah.
You have a question?
Okay, so I think my question would be, what is one thing that excites you the most, like when you meet other young women in the games industry? Like, how does that, like, what's the most fulfilling part for you?
So for me, and I can even answer this specifically through Pro Helvetia, through the She Got Game program. So the exciting thing for me is seeing what new thing someone can bring into the industry, because people have, like, guys, people have lived so many interesting lives. There's so many things that you don't know about in the world. And it's so weird. Like, you see games, a lot of times the same types of games get created over and over and over and over again, or sometimes a lot of times telling the same story over and over and over again. But when you reach out to someone from a different country, or like from a place where they've grown up with something that's an everyday life thing for them, or even just something that they find remarkable that you will have never guessed existed. So seeing people bring that into the industry is something that is always exciting. And I can, can I talk about like my mentees projects, like recent ones that I've learned? So I'm mentoring someone who is making a game about a cultural festival in a small town in India. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a kind of like a cathartic festival where like people burn effigies, and it's like I don't know, but it's such a very unique cultural thing that I didn't know anything about, and she's looking to how to translate that into a cultural game. So like, there's just so much stuff like that she's talking about, and I'm like, yo, that's actually something you can put in a game to make someone experience, because something which sometimes we can't understand things unless we go through them, or we can't understand things unless we're experiencing them. But it's like, how will I experience a cultural festival in India all the way from here in Africa, and if I've never been there, or if I'll never go there? And maybe someone can build an experience that allows me to take away some part of it, or to relate to some part of it. So it's that stuff which is really exciting. And another project from a previous mentee, this one actually really excited me so much because we were still under NDA for Relooted at the time, so no one knew about Relooted. And they were making a game about stealing artifacts from museums as well on roller skates, but on roller skates. So it was like, and even the way they approached it, and yeah, they're still working on game now, but it's like two ideas. You're like, well, on the surface, you'd be like, wow, these two ideas are exactly the same. Like we have Normali and Relooted parkouring through, and then they have someone on roller skates taking out. But there's some things which are just so interesting in terms of how you would approach those things from different cultural perspectives, or just different human perspectives. Because, I mean, how many people, everyone has like their own colonial history back then, so people relate to the story of artifacts. But like in their game, they're getting the artifacts and like wearing them, and it becomes an accessory. But it's not in a, it looks really cool, because it's like their artifacts are more things like capes and like things which you can wear. So it was very interesting when I saw them do that. And even when we were talking about because she was I was talking about her again, I was like, oh, this is very interesting. She wasn't aware of like the possibilities that it could be culturally misconstrued, like, oh, maybe they're not being respected. But then at the same time, we looked into it and we were like, you know what? These are celebratory items. Like, you really, really learn about people from far away when you get into that. So that's the stuff which excites me. And I can go on and on and on and on, but I won't go on about it. But it's like, I've learned so much from hearing game developers talk about how they're approaching their art from their regions. Yeah.
Derin, as we round up the session, we have a lady with a couple of questions, and after the questions, we can round up the panel, but this has been very enlightening. She was very quiet. She didn't want to speak on anything since she was hoping to block you guys in the corner, but please be upstanding. You know, that talk, they bring talk. So the talk don't bring talk. What's your question?
All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. Yes. So I have two questions, and I think the first one precedes the second one. The first question is, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about esports here. I think the whole talk about the Lagos Games Week, I was quite critical about it because everyone talks about esports and Mortal Kombat, and like those are the kind of games that matter. And I've been hearing you guys say esports again and games that have to do with a lot of movement. So I want to ask, my first question is that the only kind of games that you guys support? No, thank you very much. Until I second. Yeah, my name is Ami Abafor. I'm a game developer now, software developer for 9 years, and I got into gaming when my company started doing like aviator games 3 years ago, and you know we did that. And last year, after trying and building about 4 prototypes of different kind of games, I decided to start my own gaming studio. And this year, by April, I launched my first game on mobile app, iOS and Android. Now, so this game is built around the things that I love and is important to me at this time, and it's around the Christian faith. I'm building out of devotion games because I want to tell stories that relate to the Christian faith. I mean, if people can do games that are around pirates and around mermaids and around witchcraft, I think Christianity can be fun. That's why I'm building out of devotion games. All right, so one of my major issues since I have launched, I've had testers, I've been able to share my games with over 50 people in the exhibition stand, but my major issue is how do you build a community when you are a very hypercritical person? Yeah, hypercritical of your own work. Because it's funny, I've had a tech podcast for like 3 years when I was in Enugu, and I used to interview a lot of people, and it's great. I mean, people, cameras and everything, it's nice, but like, you're not talking about your own work. So one of my greatest issues is I'm very hypercritical. Most of the videos I put about my game is like videos of the game. I'm never in it. And I think for me to grow, because Christianity is very community-based, I will need to be able to get out of that and step into building a community. So how do you do that when you're very hypercritical of yourself and your work?
Is the question, how do you communicate? How do you build a community if you're hypercritical?
When you're also hypercritical of your own work.
How do you do what?
Build a community.
How do you build a community,
how do you build a community
when you're very hypercritical of your own work and other people's work, but now that is your turn? Now you are giving yourself bad boost. It's a very self-aware question.
I would say, does it have to be you who has to build the community? Like, you can get someone else to build the community, like, alongside you. But if you want to do it, if you want to take it on, building, was it Maria who said, I don't know if this was on, Maria said something about building in public earlier today. I don't know if it was on the panel, but try and just be comfortable with doing things in public. Even be comfortable with failing as well. Like, even, you don't have to jump all the way and do like the biggest thing, but it's like, the more you try to put things, the more you put things out there and not like try and do them like privately or whatever, like super secretly, and then I think you'll probably get used to it, and you'll think you won't be as critical of things if it's like, if it's your 10th time, if it's your, even if the videos you're making yourself, I'm sure you have noticed, sorry?
Has not posted them.
You haven't even posted them.
No, I don't.
You see, that's the problem. So post them now, and you'll see, like the first one you post, I don't know how many I've recorded, but you'll feel much less critical of yourself once you get to like a couple later. Like you won't think anything about like how you're working right now, because I've felt that like in terms of game jams, making my own personal games. In fact, I've completely like removed the idea of me like running a studio because I'm like, man, that takes too much out of me. But I was like, yeah, making my own personal games, you just need to do it more. You literally just need to do it more because you might think the first idea you have is amazing and you need to build on it. But trust me, move away from that, throw it away, or not throw it away, but just move away from that and do maybe 5 more things. You will feel very differently about that first one. So think about the after maybe. Do you think that's helpful? Like think about the after, like be like, yeah, post your videos out there. You want to know what happens after you post your video. So stop waiting to post them. You won't know what's happening after until you post them. So
I have an answer to that relating to She Got Game applications. But
drop it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm done. Like, yeah.
Grace, would you like to?
Yeah, so just to answer your question, to be honest, I can relate a lot to what you're saying because when I started my own game as well, I had been working on it for a while. Sometimes I'll work on it and I'll stop. And I used to think that it has to be perfect for me to put it out there because I'm actually also a former perfectionist. Well, one thing I can tell you for a fact is a game is never over. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you can never finish a game. There is no finished game. There's always something to improve, whether it's adding additional levels, whether it's exploring more art styles or adding mini games. Like there's so much you can always do with a game product. So when you have that mindset that you would always need to improve your game and you would always need to build on your game, then it makes you more comfortable with failing or being vulnerable. Because trust me, especially with the way AI is going, there are going to be a lot of games out there, some imperfect, some really great, but you have to show up because the competition is massive. People are building millions of games. Like every day somebody's launching a game on Play Store. So you have to understand the market that you're operating in and realize that sometimes when you're actually vocal about your game, for instance, like creating content about your journey on TikTok or doing like dev vlogs or basically just showing up, like showing your process, people would fall more in love with your game because people want to feel like they're part of your process. So, and the vulnerability is also one of the things that attract people to indie games. Because trust me, you might not have the budget of a AAA studio, but if people can relate to your story, people are going to download your game. That's what I think. And that is what has helped me because I started promoting my game even before I wrote a single line of code. And from that, I was able to get grants and I was able to actually start building the game. And that's another amazing thing about She Got Game because once you have a good concept art, you basically share your narration, like you are able to explain your game in a way that anybody can understand it and you put a pitch deck together. So then they would actually be interested in you. So that's what I think.
Sorry, we had 5 minutes left, like 30 minutes ago.
Oh, thank God for you.
But also to answer that, I think one thing we've also observed generally is that this kind of hesitancy, you find it a lot in women. And someone said, think like a man, so that you start to have to develop the audacity of a man in some of these instances. Don't doubt yourself. Don't think there's like imposter syndrome or something to that effect. But I generally agree with them. Don't wait till what you have is perfect before you apply. Don't be shy to like put your work out there. One example I'm sure most of us could relate to would be, what's that game? Is it the FIFA 11? The football, is it EA or
11
PS?
aside, which one was?
The very first one.
EA
when you
Sports.
compare the art with what you have now.
No, it's different.
Exactly.
Right,
and if they hadn't done it then,
Misshoots, interception.
So you have to, I think sometimes without criticism, you don't know what you need to improve. So don't be shy to share your work. Put it out there, believe it's done, it doesn't exist, wait to see what the feedback is, and then be proud of your work regardless of what it looks like. And another thing is, I think even if it's a question of what the art looks like, there's no one way of doing game art. You have some that looks like they're hand-drawn, like someone is just angrily scrolling. And it's still great. The story is still great. It doesn't have to look like it has all of this this fine edges that AI gives everything these days, that it looks so unreal. So I think it's really just to own your work, be proud of it, even if it comes with shame, at least I did something. I did something. Yes, so I think that's the main thing. So in closing, before we get thrown out completely, the call for 2027 opens on the 1st of July. It's going to be open until the 1st of September 2026. So please apply, spread the word. Don't be hypercritical of your application before sending it out. As Sheyi said, put your heart in it, but I won't have the last word. Could you also give tips on what people should do when they intend to apply? What would you suggest? What would you advise? What would you recommend?
I would advise, putting your heart into this is a pretty good one. And I will double down on that by saying that, as Grace said, with AI, people are really churning out like stuff, and it's harder. It might make it hard to see, but the one thing you're a human. You're a human. You know what? You have your own experience. You have your human experiences. So lean into that stuff. Lean into the stuff which is like, you know what things feel like, what feels fun and all that stuff. So like, and you know about your game, you know about the impact of what you're working on, you know the potential, you know like what you hope. So like, yeah, think about that stuff, because it's like anyone can write a pitch deck now. Anyone can write a pitch deck now. So put something there like you obviously have that, yeah, no one else has, because I'm very sure everyone I've met, all the women I've met, like they have something which is just like, whoa, no one else would ever be able to touch that. Like you have that, so yeah.
I think my advice would be very creative. Innovation in the game space it could be like a different type of mechanic. It could be a different story, like they've said. So basically, it's your individuality that would make your game stand out. And I think She Got Game basically just wants to hear your voice through your application. So avoid using generative AI. Try as much as possible to put let them hear your voice, let them understand your passion, let them know the story that you're trying to tell and the experience you're trying to create. And I think that's basically what will help you stand out.
Thank you very, very much.
A round of applause for the ladies. In fact, I know we are tiny here, but I think we can give a mighty buzzer. 1, 2, go. See, small but mighty. I just want to say thank you again, Site. A wealth of experience, grace, so graceful. And the amazing Derin. I know you have flyers there. I think every lady, especially that's in the hall right now, should have a piece of this flyer. Our lady formerly of Enugu, now of Lagos. I know you still have other thoughts. You can reach them one-on-one and even get contacts. Sis, I know you had a conversation. Please feel free to approach them. They are very approachable. Yeah. City, am I right?
I'm very approachable.
Yeah, yes, she spoke only for herself. She didn't say we. So I am very approachable. I'm very appreciable. So on that note, I want to say thank you so much, ladies. And the gentlemen in the hall, thank you for staying for the last...